Spheroidal Master presents Globebusters Can't Solve the Vacuum, a Flat Earth fail video for February 2018. I just want viewers to know that I have been blocked from commenting on the Globebusters channel for over a year now. This is despite the fact that I always specifically address their claims without name-calling or profanity. Ask yourselves why they reject reasonable discussion if they are sincerely in search of the truth. Anyway, here is a quick video response to one single dopey claim made by the globe denialists. In their February 14th, 2018 video, Bob from Globebusters makes the absurd claim that the tires on the Tesla Roadster launched February 6th on the Falcon Heavy rocket would have blown apart when subjected to the vacuum of space. This is demonstrably false. First, the discussion of the torr scale that Bob gets into is irrelevant because it is just another way to measure air pressure. I believe Bob brings this up only as a way to appear to know more than he does and to sound as scientific as possible. Second, Bob is wrong to claim some extreme effect caused by zero pressure. There is no exponential stress in any of this, since the subject of the claim is whether the tires would blow up. All that is needed is to compare the differential air pressures from inside to outside, and then decide if there is a reasonable scenario for the tires to survive as we see them in space. We should ask whether Bob has empirically determined the air pressure of the actual tires or shown an actual example of the problem with careful repeated experiments. Of course he hasn't. I see no tires blowing up anywhere. Does he even discuss how much overpressure tires are actually designed for? Does he talk about how space shuttle tires claim pressures 10 times as high, and yet no one in over 35 years has shown that claim to be false? Makes his entire claim little more than grasping at straws. What they do show as he is talking is a typical party balloon expanding and contracting as it responds to changes in air pressure in a sealed glass container. Also totally irrelevant because the party balloon has almost nothing in common with a tire. So let's look at 3 possible tire scenarios to see whether we can reasonably infer any problem from the information we know. To start, we know from pre-launch images that the Tesla was not supported on the payload adapter by the tires. Due to the stresses and loads encountered during launch, the frame of the Tesla was firmly bolted on the mount, along with the camera frames holding cameras used to capture the views broadcast during the live stream. So we have the first possibility. The Tesla tires were at standard tire inflation pressure of, say, 32 psi. In this case, one might legitimately argue that the pressure difference increase from approximately 17 psi to 32 psi might cause an issue. But I would bet a tire designed to withstand sports car speeds would be able to withstand this, absent any other stresses. But that actually misses the point. I believe Bob deliberately failed to examine other possibilities. What could they be? Did he make any attempt to contact SpaceX to get an explanation, or review the comments made by SpaceX to see if this had been mentioned? How many people did he even ask to brainstorm the issue to help think outside the box? Little old me can think of 2 ideas. Possibility 2. The pressure in the tires were reduced to 1 atmosphere after the car was mounted on the adapter. This would reduce the actual differential pressure in space to 15 psi, 2 psi less than the normal 17. If the initial pressure was higher, so much the better for the tires. Oops, Bob, you missed this one. So we might conclude it is easier to survive space than the torture a tire must endure during its life on a sports car. I believe this was the likeliest scenario, as it would be the simplest solution. But there is a final possibility. Possibility 3. Once the Tesla was mounted on the adapter, a technician drilled a single hole into the inner sidewalls of each tire. This would immediately reduce the air pressure to 1 atmosphere. Plus, it would then allow the inside of the tire to gradually lose pressure as the rocket proceeded to orbit, reaching zero pressure equal to the vacuum of space. The payload fairing is not pressurized, and air is allowed to escape on ascent. So when the Tesla reached orbit, the tires retain their shape just as a normal unmounted tire does on Earth. Simply put, no difference in pressure can be inferred from the video. It's clear Bob had failed to do proper science, made an unfounded assertion, and did not care to consult with anyone other than the Yes Men group that he surrounds himself with. The only logical conclusion that can be drawn from what he presented is that the charge is unproven. SpaceX is not guilty of faking anything. Case dismissed. On a personal note, as I wrap this up, I'd like to thank those who have encouraged me to make more videos, and I hope anyone who watched is motivated to research a little more carefully and think a little more deeply before adopting a belief. Reality is hard, but if you put in the effort needed, understanding will result.